Avengers Endgame spoiler talk. This is going to be our spoiler review, if you will, but we're going to get really deep into spoilers. So if for some reason you're one of the very few people on this planet who has not seen this movie, I think everyone has. I think the movie made $1.2 billion over the weekend, so it sounds like everyone's seen it. But again, if for some reason you haven't, put this video on pause. Definitely come back and check it out after you've seen the movie, because we don't want to spoil it for you. That being said, here we go. Now, just really quickly getting into the non-spoiler version of just how I felt. I loved this movie. It was really epic. It definitely followed a 3-story arc structure. I mean, there was that first act where, it was really dour and depressing and like dealing with, Thanos' snap, and then you had some subversion of expectations in terms of what happens with Thanos. You got the second act of the time heist, the Back to the Future Part 2, or just time travel, if you will. Homage kind of thing, and just going after the Infinity Stones. And then we got the third act of all epic battle epicness, which was outstanding, and the way they shot it was just incredible. And just I really think the Russo brothers they deserve a lot of credit, including everyone else who worked on this film, of course, but they really deserve a lot of credit, including also Marcus and McFeely, the writers. They really did a great job in this film.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did a good job of making this really feel kind of like a season finale of like a giant TV show. Obviously it's movies, but it just really had that like finality feel to it, and it also did a good job of kind of taking you through a roller coaster of 3 just kind of distinct acts of the movie, and like making you feel a lot of emotion while also giving you great action at the end. So, but most of the action they really saved for the end. Like even in the second act there wasn't too much action. I mean, we got some great scenes of like Captain America fighting himself and that kind of thing, but the real action was really saved for the end. But they really did a good job building up all these characters that we've known for so long, and they really like rewarded you for paying close attention to all the other movies before. I think they did a great job of that.
And just adding on what you said, there was it's a Marvel movie, so what I'm about to say is obvious, but there's a lot of humor in this movie.
Oh yeah.
And I thought most
well-timed and placed humor.
And I was just about to say, I really felt like most of it really like hit for me. There were some moments where I was laughing out loud. Rocket and the dude Thor, Big Lebowski Thor, whatever you want to call him. Overweight Thor. But no, there was definitely a lot of moments of humor which really, helped levitate from the depressing manner in which is really going on of what just happened again. And, kind of like, now we're going to get really a little more into spoilers, but I did love how in the first act of the film, or really early on, obviously we got the whole Hawkeye thing. We got Joe Russo's daughter playing his daughter, Ava Russo. And obviously we all expected the snap to happen right there to see what Hawkeye's reaction was.
But
also, too, if you were paying close attention, you could see that ankle bracelet, the same one that Scott Lang was wearing in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
They made sure to show you that.
Because in Avengers Infinity War, Black Widow does make mention that they took deals with the government, that they had to be under house arrest. So I'm glad that they kept in continuity with that. That was great. But getting into the subverting of expectations, having Thanos just having his arm immediately, sliced off, and then having, getting his head chopped off, and then obviously
Thor
Thor
says, expecting that.
Yeah. I mean, you expected Thanos to die in the film, just not so early on. And then, of course, we get 2014 Thanos later on in the film.
But even before that, one of my favorite parts probably of this movie is kind of when after Captain Marvel brings Tony back, and they're all sitting around, and Cap's like, do you have any information or any coordinates, and Iron Man just kind of snaps and just goes all out on Cap, talking about what he said in Age of Ultron, and also kind of in Civil War. And just that moment between them I thought was really intense, and just like really showing that like Tony does still have this resentment kind of for their kind of squabbles,
and just balancing out like different tones, like humor and drama and like good character moments. Like this film did a really good job with that, especially that scene you were just talking about. And when you mentioned that,
moments of the film.
It's really good because and also you notice that skinny Tony Stark. I mean, he's been in space for 21 days, hasn't really eaten anything. I love how it really felt really like good. He looked so skinny, almost like he was getting to Captain America in the first movie where he was that skinny.
Almost.
Almost there, right? But no, and then him and Nebula were playing that flick game that we used to play as kids when we were in restaurants waiting with the sugar football packets. That was so much fun. I love that. So just already the movie's getting, it's a movie about superheroes, so it's hard to, relate to their powers and stuff, but just like their characters and like little moments like that, it really helps get you to relate to these characters.
And in general, I think this movie did a good job of making them all feel human, really human. So definitely it made you able to connect to them more.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, a lot of people guessed it was probably either going to be Pepper or Captain Marvel rescuing the ship. So I'm glad that they got that out of the way really early on.
And some people I think might say, well, how did she just find them in space? But I
probably
feel like
Rocket would have a tracker to his own
because
ship.
Nebula was there, maybe she could send a message or something. And Rocket.
That didn't bother me really much. I'm sorry if it bothered anyone else. But then getting into that, like I said, we saw them, slice and kill Thanos, and then again subverting expectations. 5 years later, I wasn't.
Again, even right before that, you could really see the pain on Thor's face because he feels responsible for just kind of serving his own ego by like
looking him in the
face and like pushing him in the chest, but he could have just killed him right there. But
should have went for that.
Man, ever since Ragnarok, Chris Hemsworth as Thor has just like been killing it. I think he like, especially in Infinity War, but I think even in this movie he's one of my favorite characters. I think
the Marvel Kevin Feige and the writers realized Chris Hemsworth is really funny. Let's utilize this in a proper way that fits with Thor, because the whole Shakespearean thing is just, it's kind of silly in its own right as it is, but then like what they've done with him since Ragnarok and Infinity War and this, like, he's just hysterical.
Tough mother know you weareth her drapes. Yeah, they played that one out.
Yeah, exactly.
But and then we go 5 years later, and we're like, oh, what? Like, I was not expecting that. And you kind of see Captain America in the self-help group.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool because it shows, like, even if he's not being Captain America, he still wants to help people and just kind of do good in the world and that kind of thing.
And it also too harpens back to with Sam Wilson. He had that whole kind of group with in Captain America: Winter Soldier, where they're dealing with like post-traumatic stress, and this is major post-traumatic stress because half the world was obviously decimated. So I really like that. There were also two really cool cameos in there. There was the director Joe Russo. He was in Captain America: The Winter Soldier and as the Doctor for Nick Fury after Fury gets shot by the Winter Soldier, and also he was in Captain America: Civil War. He's the one that Helmut Zemo is the that killed the Doctor to go undercover with Bucky to do the whole spell thing on him.
Doctors.
He does. And then also another cool cameo in that scene was actually Jim Starlin, the guy with the bald-headed guy.
Yeah.
That was the creator of Thanos, so that was really cool seeing him in there. But no, I did like, again, how Captain America, or Steve in this instance, was picking up the mantle of Sam, and like you said, trying to make the world a better place and trying to like talk our way out of the problems, because as hard as it is, they have to move on, but not us. So obviously that was really interesting to see. Then getting into I really love what they did with Professor Hulk in this movie.
Man, I was
it's a little gratuitous.
No, his CGI looked really good. Like good. I never thought it felt weird ever. Like, I agree. And he's just hilarious because you kind of get Banner was one way and Hulk was the other way, and even his personality is kind of he's all just like fun and happy, and he's like doing the pictures with the selfies. I thought that was funny. But I don't know. I really like what they did with Hulk in this movie. I think it really worked. I know they kept trying to change him up a little bit here and there, and like I thought he was good in Ragnarok as like Hulk, but
5-year-old Hulk.
But seeing him now was just great. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, no, and I loved again in moments where Hulk normally would Hulk out, rage out, get pissed and angry, like. He's a lot more calm. Like when Thor's grabbing his arm, he's like, "Can you please move your arm?" He's just a lot more calm. Yeah, and again, I like that infusion of Bruce's brains and Hulk's brawn. So it's cool to see those two mix.
Well, they definitely show that too when they go like into the first Avengers movie, and like you see Hulk smashing, and he's like, "Oh my god!" Like he's like, "Well, okay, Cap's like, maybe you should smash a few things along the way." And he's like,
"I think it's a little gratuitous."
That was so funny.
Oh no, it definitely had me laughing out loud too. Let's talk about the real MVP of this movie, that rat. That got Scott Lang back. That rat, it just saved everything, because without that rat, they can't time travel.
I mean, and it's not like you just happened to do it at the right moment.
No, it happened 5 years later. It didn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all.
I thought it was fine, and like.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it might have been too easy to just press a button and that's it. But whatever. It didn't bother. It didn't really bother me.
There are many things in this, like tiny little things you could nitpick, especially with time travel. But like, I don't really care about any of that stuff. That was not. Taking me out of the movie in any way.
Yeah, and also too, I also have a feel like I think it's fair for writers when you make up your own rules as long as you stick to those rules, and I felt that they did. And
they really explain them too. He's like, no, that's not how time travel works. Like blah blah blah, and like all these movies, and like Hulk definitely like had that scene where he's explaining like, if you go into the past, that's your future, and then your future was your past. So how could your future affect your past? Kind of thing. I don't know. I didn't know if I did that right, but they tried to explain. They tried to explain it for sure. So
yeah, no, that was good.
And with the ancient one
too.
And
then again, just talking about the dramatic parts of this film. When we get Scott Lang back and he's just like so confused about what the hell is going on, and then when he sees Cassie for the first time,
a great moment.
I mean, Paul Rudd's really got acting range. I mean, he's hysterical as we all know, and looks like he never freaking ages. But he's hysterical, but he's also, like I said, he's got range. He's really got the dramatic flair and touch, and like just that, seeing him touch casting, seeing how happy he was, like, you felt like I really was almost about to tear in that moment. Like, that was really good stuff right there. Just knowing that his daughter was okay. They didn't really, it didn't matter, but they didn't really touch up on if the stepdad, the cop, and the mom, if they got dust or not. Okay. It's not a big deal, but I was kind of curious just to see, you know, I would assume that's who she's living with. I would assume they're still alive. So, but again, there's so much happening.
Or
in
at
this
least
film.
one of them. I mean,
There's
we didn't see their names on the plaque or anything.
Yeah. There was so much happening that's fine. But now, obviously, the motivational portion for Scott to get, you know, this done. Obviously, his daughter's safe, but he's got to get Hope, Hank, and Janet back. So that's his motivation. I hope Louise survived. That would. I mean, now he's back now, obviously, after Hulk snap. But still, that's. But again, that was Scott's motivation for wanting to, you know, tell them about the time travel, and then coming to the gate, speaking with Natasha and Steve, letting them know how that he was in the quantum realm. They said it must have been a long 5 years. Yeah, but that's it for me. It was 5 hours. Mm-hmm. So that kind of kick-starts and jump-starts the whole time heist, if you will, and getting into that. And then when we get to see Tony Stark, he's living the family life. He's on a lake. He's got his daughter Morgan. Yeah, he does. And he's got his daughter Morgan. I think they did actually foreshadow that in Infinity War. He says, we had a kid. His name was Morgan. Like, so they kind of...
I forget if they said if it was a boy or a girl, or if they didn't. But I mean, it did say Morgan.
Yeah, I've seen the movie Infinity War so many times, I can't even remember. So you got me there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was definitely an interesting dynamic to see Tony, because Tony... How was Tony when we first met him? He's a billionaire playboy philanthropist and genius billionaire playboy philanthropist. So that playboy, we see him hooking up with women in the first movie, doing his thing, and he's really matured into an adult. Like, and to see him as a father and with his daughter, like, this is such a different side of Tony, and being a family man, being a husband, being a daughter, having a kid.
Like he's a good dad.
Oh no, definitely.
Good relationship with his daughter.
And we love you all 3,000. Okay, that was all.
Shit.
Shit. No, that was great. I really liked all their interactions. Again, just seeing that mature side of Tony, that was really neat. Because now, again, what jump-started his motivation to get into the time machine, start the time machine thing, as you all know, is when he saw that picture of Peter Parker.
Yeah, definitely.
That just got the feels from him, because he feels, I mean, he said it in Spider-Man Homecoming, if something happens to other people, that's on you. But if something happens to you, I feel like that's on me.
And back to that moment when he first lands with Cap, he's like, I lost the kid. Like, you can see his
first
pain.
line. Yeah. No, you're right. No, definitely. And I love most of the relationships in the series, but that Tony Stark Peter Parker relationship is really special to me, and there is that father son feeling to there for sure.
And just that moment in the end battle where just like Peter's talking, he just hugs him, like that was a really sweet moment.
I mean, I'm sure many of you were smart enough to say Jason was lucky enough to not sitting next to me when we were in the theater. I tried to not talk too much. I don't really like to talk during movies, but when I'm able to predict something that's about to happen, I usually say, and Greg Alba of The Real Rejects was sitting right next to me. I felt a little bad for him, because there was like 2 or 3 times where Peter's about to Tony was about to hug Peter. I'm like, all right, Tony's about to hug Peter. And then when Peter Quill was saying, like, that was Gamora. Like, just think,
that one was pretty obvious.
I'm sure I'm saying most of these are obvious, but sometimes I can't help myself and I just call it a little early. But that was really big. And again, just when Tony does hug him in that final battle, like, again, got the tears going almost for me. That was just so like, little things in this movie can be so impactful, like a hug or a face, or even Thor just going
facial.
Or even
of course.
Thor.
That was so good.
That was so funny, dude. Chris Hemsworth is hysterical. But again, getting into seeing everyone in the 5 years, let's talk about the dude. And by the way, that's a hysterical reference to calling, saying the Big Lebowski. Because who plays Big Lebowski? Oh, Jeff Bridges. Who was the first villain in the first Iron Man? It's just funny that Tony Stark says that. Of course, Tony Stark gives him movie reference names. He called him Point Break and Avengers. It's only, but I just found it hysterical. The in-joke is Jeff Bridges was the first villain that kind of whole started this, the Ironmonger Obadiah Stane. So that was all really cool in-reference joke. But it worked for me. I know some people were a little like...
I think Fat Thor was one of the best parts of this entire movie.
I was like, is this Volstagg? No,
this is like
Thor.
I mean, and the fact that they kept him fat through the whole movie was amazing. Yeah. Good thing seeing Corgan.
I was so happy. When we saw this movie at the Disneyland press screening last week, on a couple days before the film came out, and the whole crowd just erupted when Corgan came out. I was part of that. My hands were a little red.
Fortnite in their fucking
Thank you,
man cave.
Can you talk this guy's back again?
Nude Master 69.
Yeah, Nude Master 69.
No, but I thought the idea of making Thor super fat and just, I mean, not only that, he's broken down. Like, he's like having nervous breakdowns. He can't handle his shit. Attacks. He's just like all of that. And I thought that was a really interesting choice that they made, and I think it really paid off.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like, think about how much guilt and, I mean, he's dealing with just from the snap, but think about how much he's lost in all these movies. In the second movie, he's lost, spoilers for all other movies in the MCU, in case, I'm sure you've seen them by now, but just in case. And just, I mean, he lost, I mean,
his
they
mom,
already
his dad,
told,
his brother, his
us he's
best
going to
friends.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
He's lost and his hammer, which he got back in this movie again, but he's lost a lot. His planet, I mean, his home, Asgard, which now...
his home.
Yeah, now they've got a new home.
His girlfriend.
Jane. But now they've got a new home. By the way, that location, Tonsberg, that's actually the location in the first Thor that Laufey attacks, where he's attacking all the Midgard. And then his father, Thor's father, comes in to save them from King Laufey. That's the same location. Also, it's the same location as Captain America, the first Avenger, where the Red Skull, Johann Schmidt, he goes to get the Tesseract, because that's where Odin left it after the first Thor. So just a little cool reference there to Tonsberg. So interesting that they picked that location. I thought they were going to pick Norway, but maybe I'm dumb and they're pretty close to each other. I don't know. But that was pretty cool. And then when they get Thor to come back, I like how they were using, they're like, Rocket's like, there's beer on the ship or something like that. Cause he's like,
what kind?
That's a good way. When someone's drunk, that's a good way to motivate them.
Rocket and Thor have a pretty good relationship, I think.
They were great.
And
I also love that line from Tony where he's like, dude, for a second I really thought you were the Build-A-Bear.
That was a great one. Right until this moment, I thought you were Build-A-Bear.
Yeah, that was funny.
There's so many little moments like that throughout. But yeah, Hulk and Rocket get Thor, bring him back, and then that's kind of when they start, and Natasha goes and gets Clint.
That, by the way, that tracking shot where we get the reintroduction of Clint, or as you will, Ronan in this case.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
different Ronan.
Yeah, not Ronan the accused from Guardians of the Galaxy in 5 minutes of Captain Marvel. We're talking about Ronan, the new alter ego of Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye. By the way, I have a quick question. So we saw that Captain Marvel and Hawkeye got haircuts in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Do you think they got haircuts from the Stan Lee character from Thor Ragnarok, or did they go to different? Yeah.
Oh, that dude. Well, we don't know if that guy's alive because Asgard.
Actually, no, he was on Sakaar. He was on Sakaar. He
right.
could travel to Earth, and I mean, and also Captain Marvel could go to Sakaar.
I suppose
It's a possibility.
Captain
we just
Marvel
threw that
probably.
out there.
Ronan probably not.
Yeah. Well, he's a watcher and foreman, as we know, as we learned in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, so he could maybe get around.
He's also a hippie in the 70s.
Yeah, and I did love that, the make war not peace, or excuse me, make peace not war. Yeah, make war not peace. Make peace not war, and then on the back it said 420 on his license plate on the three numbers, and then it also said enough said on the bumper sticker. So I was, if this really is truly the last Stan Lee cameo, I thought that was a great cameo. I mean, I love all his cameos. Obviously, it wasn't too pertinent to the story, but it was just cool to see him in
Most of his aren't, but some of them are.
Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure, but I agree with you. But yeah, no, that was great seeing him. And let's get into some of the, really quickly, let's get into some of the time jumps. Let's just stick with the 1970. I really, and also with Thor too, because I love seeing Thor, get some closure with his mother the day she died, because he really didn't get a chance to obviously say goodbye.
That was really good.
Actually, I'm not the biggest fan of Thor the Dark World, as everyone who follows this channel knows. It's not a terrible movie by any means, of course. I'm just, in comparison to other Marvel films, it's just...
It's near the bottom.
Yeah. My point being is, like, that scene, their interactions in that moment alone, now knowing that Big Lebowski Thor and Rocket are there when you rewatch Thor the Dark World, you just don't know it. It really like makes that movie a little more interesting to me, and like that closure again that Thor gets with his mom, and the closure that Tony gets with his father in 1970. Like I really enjoy that. Like it was really mature and motivating moments for those characters, just like move on a little with their lives, and to like.
Well, for more than anything, just Thor getting that moment with his mom to kind of tell him pretty good advice, like stop trying to be who you're supposed to be and just be who you are. Like that's pretty good advice, and Thor kind of takes that, and that's kind of ultimately what leads him to give control of Asgard to Valkyrie. But yeah, in that moment, I think because Thor kind of is breaking down, he's like, I can't do this. Rocket slaps him. That's another great moment.
I think you're the only one who lost me.
But that in that moment, Thor kind of gets a little bit of purpose back, and his mom really helps him, and obviously getting a little bit of closure with his mom, who he knows is going to die.
So such well acted scenes too.
Yeah,
and then,
between both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so they get that one, and then we see the scene in the first Avengers movie where they land, and
that was great.
That was funny seeing them right after the scene, like where
That's
they
America's ass.
get Loki, and like seeing like all the Hydra agents and Rumlow and
then the recreation of the Winter Soldier scene.
That was a funny moment.
The elevator
Hail
scene.
Hydra.
Yeah, I love that. Because
good.
again, that just shows the maturity level of Steve. Was he doesn't have to just use his brawn; he can use his brains in this situation, and that was great. Because we all, at the first time you saw it and you hadn't been spoiled, you expected Steve to just wipe the floor with them again, like in Winter Soldier. But that was such a great payoff in that moment.
And I like how Cap in that moment and against himself uses like his knowledge of the future to just like say Hail Hydra and also say Bucky is alive.
He knew that would make him hesitate.
Yeah, so like he kind of is outsmarting his opponents rather than just beating them up.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I felt like that shot where him and Cap, like not the throwing shield, but when they meet, like when they collide shields, like I felt like it felt like the Civil War shot between him and Tony Stark with that same kind of pose.
It had that same angle too.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that. And let's get one thing straight. I am not a fan of that suit in any way, shape, or form from Joss Whedon's first The Avengers movie. It's got no chin strap. His ears are covered. I really dislike. I know it's homage to the 50s or 60s suit, which that's cool to pay homage. Fix that damn helmet. But no, that was really cool to see that fight between them. I was kind of getting some Double Impact vibes with Jean-Claude Van Damme in that 1991 film. But one thing I forgot, baby little mention that we forgot at the beginning when Scott Lang comes back in the time machine thanks to the MVP of this movie, The Rat. Ken Jeong is the security guard. And again, I'm not sure of other movies that Paul Rudd and him have done. I know for a fact they did role models. They were, remember the...
I know the Russos like to use Community. So that guy, and when they're in the 70s,
the woman in the elevator. Yeah, no, in Winter Soldier, the guy who lets Cap him for you.
I know that guy.
I'm sure you guys will correct me in the comments. Let us know which actor that is. But now and next with the Russo brothers, hopefully they continue making, because they got to get some Arrested Development characters into this.
Well, they had one in Infinity War.
Was it Tobias? Yeah, you're right. In the collector's vault, the blue Tobias Funke, right?
It's even knowing he's in there, it's kind of hard to see him sometimes. But anyway, back to this movie.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we saw the 70s. We saw the first Avengers movie. So yeah, then the other group is going to Morag.
I just love seeing all these different angles to these scenes.
It's funny seeing Starlord singing the song himself. And just like you're just like, oh, so he's an idiot. Like, I mean, from when you're watching Guardians of the Galaxy, you're like, oh, that's cool. But then when you're watching someone else watch him and you can't hear the music, it's like,
of course.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb.
Also, you assume nobody's in there as well. So.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, it was just kind of funny seeing that. And then obviously we get the scene in Vormir with Natasha.
It's a good thing that they sent those two in, because if they would have sent in like Hulk and Scott Lang in that, it's like, I don't know if they like.
I mean, I guess that could be a convenience, but it's just it's just like saying good luck or good thing Thanos brought Gamora with him to Vormir. Otherwise,
no. Good point.
But so
although
he
could have just used the space stone to go back and grab her. But yeah, I feel you.
But I thought that was a good moment between those two, because they kind of been building up their relationship in the movie, and obviously in all of these movies. But then seeing them there, and then seeing them kind of fight to be the one to sacrifice themselves. And I honestly didn't know what was going to happen, because you see like them tackle each other, and then she runs, he shoots him with the bow, and then he jumps off. I'm like, oh shit, it's Hawkeye, and then she swoops in and grabs him again. So
yeah, and that
was a good sequence.
Yeah, and it was obviously a little bit of a recreation of in terms of music and what happens in the scene with the Gamora Thanos scene, but. No, and what's interesting too is we are going to get to see Scarlett Johansson again in a Black Widow movie that takes place before Iron Man 1. I think that comes out in a year or two. I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comment section. I really would love to see if they, in that movie, or if they make a sequel to that one, because again, it's set before the first Iron Man. I'd love to see the Winter Soldier, Bucky, give her that Russian slug shot, just because she talked about it in Winter Soldier, so that'd be cool to actually see it happen in person. So. No, that was definitely very touching and very heartbreaking, of course, seeing Natasha, because she's been with us since Iron Man 2, since 2010, so that was definitely very heartbreaking. And then the fact that Hulk, I know a lot of people are a little confused on like, how does the snap work? How do you Hulk kind of did go into it a little, or Professor Hulk, excuse me, kind of did go into it a little bit, said I tried to bring her back. So that kind of told me that they're saying you have to think about
the stones give you what you're wanting.
Well, and you have to think about it, like really concentrate, and that's what happened. It sounds like he wanted half the universe back. Makes sense. And then he tried to get Natasha, just didn't work out that way, because they had to sacrifice her soul for the soul stone. Like, how do you have that stone there if you get her back? So it kind of defeats the purpose there. So that made a lot of sense.
Speaking of Hulk, real quick too, I thought it was cool when he encounters the Ancient One, and
I love that.
She pushes him out, and you see Mark Ruffalo, like pretty much the only time in this movie. Yeah. But I thought that was a really cool conversation between them and the exchange, because obviously two great minds, and he actually kind of not outsmarts her, but kind of says like, she's like, yeah, this will change our reality. But he's like, but I think the
surface.
science, I can make it so that, you know, that doesn't happen. And
because they bring the stones back to the points of which they took them. They
and obviously when he says like, why did Strange give up the stone willingly? You see her just kind of flip and just...
Strange is meant to be the best of us.
Yeah, and I thought that was a really cool like cameo from her. Just I wasn't expecting to see her in this movie.
And it was great seeing her. Like, she actually got a few Chitauri down. Like, so now you know when you rewatch that movie, she took a few Chitauri down. She's helping
out a little bit from the scenes.
Yeah, from the Sanctum Sanctorum in New York. So that was really cool. And again, it's just now when you rewatch these movies, even though you know things don't happen, there's more context. Like now you know after they get Loki, like the elevator ride down. By the way, we got a cool little. Sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we got a cool little Back to the Future Part 2, you know, thing where Thor, or rather Tony, gets smashed by the door, and then the Tesseract like lands because Marty McFly in Back to the Future Part 2 after he got the almanac.
I love that.
Marty McFly after he got the almanac got hit in the face by previous Marty when he had the gray sports almanac, and then Biff took it right there, so it kind of had that same.
And we see Loki get the Tesseract and disappear. I was wondering if he was gonna like show up again in the movie, but I think they're just kind of saving that for the TV show.
He disappeared into the streaming show.
Yeah, exactly.
So because obviously,
but that was cool. That was
Loki
smart. They kind of left themselves more leeway with a lot of these things because they killed him off in Infinity War, but now a version of him is still around.
Two things I was a little three people or three things I was shocked that didn't happen in this movie. Nakia wasn't in the movie at all, and I get it, she's a spy, not a soldier. I know, but still, it's the fate of the world, and Black Panther came back.
Yeah.
We did get the one shot of M'Baku when they're charging. One quick
He's
shot.
He's there.
They didn't bring Vision back. That was interesting. I thought they were gonna maybe rebuild him.
Maybe because they didn't have the stone though. They don't have the stone to...
Okay, but I think they did mention in Infinity War that they don't need the stone, but again, he just ripped it out.
But again, like, in this moment, everyone who was fighting in Wakanda literally came straight from Wakanda.
Yeah, no, I know.
Like
I just meant... No, you're right. I just meant I thought maybe in the 5 years they might have tried to build or replicate him or something like that. But no, I feel like that makes total sense.
Yeah, true. And who else? I thought you said 3.
I'm trying to think what my third one was. If I come back to it.
Well, we can come back to it.
Yeah.
But anyway, they pretty much get all the stones, and Hulk puts it on. And in that moment, too, Thor really wants to be the one because he, like, desperately wants to, like, do something good. I thought that was a good moment.
Yeah, but they're like, dude, you're low ridden with guilt right now. Like it's, you got to be in
you're
proper...
You're not mentally there.
You have to be concentrating and be mentally there to be able to do that. The third thing I was about to say was, it's not at the biggest gripe, but I really wanted to see Hulk... I know he just snapped his arm. He was, like, in trouble, but was part of the battle. I wanted to see Hulk give a little beat down to Thanos, get a little revenge from that Infinity War.
But I was gonna say, like, when we went back into the first Avengers movie, like, it looked like that Hulk was way bigger
than Professor Hulk.
Yeah, so
still he's still pretty strong.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know if you noticed that.
I did notice,
but like maybe just because when he converged him, he was not as big, but he definitely looked way bigger in.
But he's got more brains in this one, so maybe he can outsmart it. I just wanted to see, and Thanos. I mean, not that.
But
Thanos,
it's not like Banner is like a fighter necessarily.
No, I get that, but he wasn't bad all night. Like I said, it's just for me. I just wanted to see him.
We did see him charging in the battle, like running, but I never actually saw him do anything. I was looking for him.
Yeah, not too much. Yeah.
But again, he was hurt and shit. But
exactly.
But anyways, they get the stones. Banner finally puts on the glove, and I thought that was a cool moment where he's like, you really see what it's doing to him, and he makes the snap. And I think it was cool the way they did it. Where like that's when Nebula, the old Nebula. At the same time that he's doing that, Thanos basically flies back out of the thing.
Because he has the pin particle, so he's able to shrink.
Yeah, and he flies up into the air. You kind of like forget. I forgot about it for a second the first time, and then
hit
like
the roof.
Yeah, and then you see them open up the things, and Scott just sees all this life and birds chirping. He's like, I think it worked, and then explosion,
but also
right
too,
into the battle.
We got to see that it actually worked. We saw the call from Mohawk guys.
Yeah.
From Ronan's, from his wife. We saw that she was calling to let him know when are you coming home or whatever they were talking about. But that lets the audience and them and the Avengers know it worked. So that was great, and then
they take that great moment and then smash it on its head.
Yeah, right into. Let's go into an epic finale here. But yeah, no, seeing then we see the Avengers, we see Rhodes, Rocket, and Hulk kind of being
and Ant-Man.
And then Ant-Man comes to save them. Giant Man comes to save them. Kind of had a little referencing feel to the first Ant-Man when he's in water trying to get into the location to get the yellow jacket suit.
Yeah.
Now he's got to get to them, get big to save them. And then we get the Holy Trinity of Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor.
Such a great moment.
Battling Thor.
What's he doing down there? Absolutely nothing.
He's just waiting for them.
But before that, too, we see Hawkeye with some cool moments, like playing keep away with the glove and just slashing up the Chitauri.
To me, it had a James Cameron Aliens feeling
Kind
to it
of,
when they're like stuck in closed closed corridors, and then these alien type creatures are running after him. We really got that James Cameron feeling.
But then we see Iron Man, Cap, and Thor just standing there, and Thor grabs both hammers and his beard gets all braided. And that's sick, and it just kind of shows, like, even though he's fat as fuck, like, he can still just kick ass. Like, I don't know. I thought it was really cool. And then we see them all converge. It kind of cuts and then goes back to the other guys for a second. But just that fight between those three and Thanos, even without the stones, Thanos is just overpowering all of them. That big-ass sword that he has is really sick. And then he kind of, basically destroys all of them. And then you see that amazing moment.
Cap.
The best moment of the whole movie has got to be. Because you see it raise up and then hit him and come back and then catches it. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah. I think that's one of the moments too I was in the theater. I'm like,
I called it too.
And we obviously
it was so
amazing.
Good.
The crowd erupted every time I saw it. And also too, we did get a foreshadowing for that in Age of Ultron when they're all trying to pick up the hammer and Cap gets it a little bit off. And I remember always thinking in the back of my head, how was Cap not worthy? But now he is.
I guess you could maybe say it's because he knew about Bucky and killing Iron Man's dad and he hadn't told him.
Now he's more worthy. That's a good point. Good.
And also maybe in more dire situations, the hammer's like, oh, okay, I'll go with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you make a good
point.
But
I thought it was awesome the fact that he could actually not just pick it up, but like throw it and bring it back and do the spinning thing.
Kind of had the shield feel to it where it comes back a little too.
And he threw the shield and hit it with the hammer to make a sound wave.
And they did that in the first Avenger film when he's trying to hit when Thor's trying to hit him and the force just decimates. And then also in the Age of Ultron, the first scene against Hydra where he's like, oh, they're rounding up numbers. They're excited. Bam. So that was
great moment. And then just obviously Thanos still overpowers him.
And then seeing everyone. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I just kind of wish that little fight with him and the hammer would have lasted a little bit longer. Like, I know Thanos overpowered him, but just, I don't know, seeing Cap with the hammer
just a little bit longer. It's just, I think there was just so much that had to be going on after that they just wanted to say, we're not gonna lock in too hard here. But I'm with you. And then obviously we get everyone. I love the line from Sam Wilson where he says, "Cap, on your left."
Yep.
Obviously we all know that's a callback, to Winter Soldier when Cap said that to him several times when they're jogging. He's just passing him, and then in the hospital after Bucky almost killed him, he said, "On your left." So
it was cool with Doctor Strange and Wong and all of them.
Seeing everyone come back,
bringing everybody in.
Yeah.
Because, right before that moment, you see Thanos dropping all his troops and just more and more ships come down. Like, holy crap, there's so many. What are you going to do? Obviously, bring everyone back.
And then
I think Wong even says, like, what, you want more?
You want more? Like, we can only fit so much on the screen at one time, okay? Just saying.
Yeah.
But and then I love I love the callback, the chant that Black Panther was saying, Imbam Bat, that was really cool seeing that again, because that was obviously what he chanted, they all chanted right before the Battle of Wakanda and Infinity War. So that was really cool. And then I also thought, there was a lot of close-up shots for sure, but I thought, like, you could really follow the action pretty well.
For the most part,
for the amount of characters and what was going on. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And I love seeing Drax do the quadruple stab on, I think it was Cole Obsidian, Black Dwarf.
And then also...
and then Scott just stamps on him.
Yeah. And then Spider-Man with the instant kill. Freaking just
from Spider-Man Homecoming paying that off.
Yeah. And there's that iron suit with the legs just looks so cool. And then you get that, the Women Avengers moment, like a
girl power.
Yeah, what do they call it? Don't they have like a name for that, like the A Squad or something like that?
Yeah, the A Squad. Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't think that's right. Let us know if we're wrong. But the moment where all the women kind of like really bring up and they just
empowering.
Captain Marvel. I also too like how they didn't overuse Captain Marvel in this movie because she's so powerful and she saves Tony and she takes out that ship. And she has a nice fight with Thanos.
And they did make a mention in the movie earlier on that she's just dealing with so many other plans.
I think they handled her perfectly. Like, I don't think they gave her moments, and like they didn't overuse her because she could have just been way too powerful and made everything really easy.
I'm not trying to be mean here, but when they had that cool moment with all the female characters, I'm like, what is Mantis supposed to do here? Sleep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But.
With Thanos, like that all worked where she was making him sleep and all that, but again, it was still a cool shot. I'm not taking away from that shot. Was really cool seeing all of them and then seeing Gamora just slice through and then Valkyrie slice through one of the Leviathans.
Was it only me? But I feel like in that first moment where you see Pepper in the suit, like
the rescue suit.
I did not recognize who that was. I'm like, that does not look like Gwyneth Paltrow. She's making some like angry face or whatever. But then obviously once I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's Pepper. But
yeah, I did, but
I don't know. Every time I saw it, I'm like, I gotta see it because like that in that first shot, I'm like that does not look like her.
And really quick, you might not have noticed in the shot where they're all coming through the portals, they're all coming back right after Sam says on your left. You actually do get to see Howard the Duck in there for a quick second. Blink and you won't see him.
I didn't notice that.
I saw it the third time because someone had mentioned it, and I really looked, and he's there, 100%. Okay. So. Wow. Yeah, that was interesting. I'm like, where's our South Green line? No, I'm just kidding. But obviously, we saw Howard the Duck in Guardians of the Galaxy at the end of the first one, and then at the end credits, and then when they're on Contraxia in Volume 2, right before we get reintroduced to Yondu again, he's like, once you go duck, you never go, or something, whatever the line was.
Quack or something.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, that was cool seeing that. That was a lot of cool cameos. But again, I just really appreciated that action sequence, not only because of how epic it was, but again, you really could follow a lot of what the characters were doing, and like it was very easy to follow. And the fight choreography, even though there was a lot of close-up shots, was really good based on all the powers. And I loved there was some couple again references with Black Panther where he calls Ronan Clint, because in Captain America: Civil War he goes, "We haven't met. I'm Clint. I don't care." Yeah. So there was a lot of moments like that, and also to seeing Spider-Man flying with the Valkyrie, and then not only that, but also the hammer was thrown, right? Mjolnir, riding Mjolnir with the
Queens on your left. That's another
Queens. Yeah. That was good.
This whole movie did a great job of kind of encapsulating everything about the MCU into one movie, or like just giving you little glimpses and little payoffs here and there.
And let's talk about the heartbreaking moment. I mean, we already talked about one, obviously with Natasha, that was beyond sad, but obviously this man who we're about to discuss, and you already know who we're talking about.
They set it up when he sees Doctor Strange. He's like, "Hey, 14 million."
If I tell you what it is, because then he might have time to think about it.
And then you see him. He's like, "This is the one moment."
So you have to do it. Yeah.
He grabs the stones.
We're talking obviously about Tony Stark, Mr. Robert Downey Jr., who started this all. Without Robert Downey Jr., Jon Favreau, and Kevin Feige, we don't ever get any of these movies. So, and the line, I felt the line that he said when Thanos says, "I am inevitable." Then we get Tony's line of, "I am Iron Man." Obviously, that was a callback to the first Iron Man, where he says, "The truth is, I am Iron Man." The most appropriate line I thought could have been was that.
Oh, yeah. Low-key in that moment, like, obviously it wouldn't make sense because they never had any interaction, but I thought he was going to say, "I am Groot." But I guess in that moment, the joke isn't really the right moment.
Because Steve Rogers said, "I am Steve Rogers."
But Tony's really never met Groot in his life, so it's not like he would.
Should have had that one scene with him, but it was too big of a finale of battle going on for them to talk and chit-chat and all that.
It's all good. But yeah, no, what a great moment. He snaps his fingers.
I was tearing up.
And you don't even see that right away. You see all the bad guys like ashing, and Thanos. I thought Thanos was really good in that moment where he's just kind of realizing what's happening, looking around, and just sits around. He's just like.
Yeah, because originally they were going to send them back through the quantum tunnel or their original thing back to 2014. But obviously that was not an option when the ex-con van was destroyed. So then that's why Iron Man.
And real quick before we get into Tony's death and everything, I thought it was a really good idea having 2014 Thanos become or come back into the future, and just that whole. I was wondering how they were going to incorporate Thanos after they killed him, but I thought that was a perfect way. So
no, I completely agree. And again, like we said, they really subverted our expectations with killing a 2018 or 2019 version of Thanos. So that makes sense. I was kind of wondering how. I figured at that point when it happened, because I don't know if you did, but I saw some trailers where we did see Thanos. I'm like, they're gonna have to use a past version of him.
Of course, yeah. I didn't see anything, but
smart.
Obviously, I figured he would be in it at some point.
Smart.
So.
Yeah.
But then, we see Tony's just completely
his face is just burned to a crisp on the right side.
But it was great in that moment. He gets to have moments with his closest people. Well, Rhodey first, and then Peter comes in.
"I'm so sorry, Tony."
Yeah, and then Pepper the moment where Pepper's keeping it together, and she's like, "It's okay, we'll
rest.
Be fine.
Yeah,
you can rest." And then she starts to break down. That moment where I thought was really good.
Yeah, she was staying strong for Tony. That was really great, and also that line really resonated with me. We're protected. You can rest now, because that was Tony's mission since he got out of that cave. He made it his life and dedication for world peace. He really did, and that's at that moment. Obviously, there's going to be more movies and more adventures. But in that moment, he really like protected the Earth and did everything in his soul and body that he could physically and mentally, muster to protect everyone and everything. And I just love that line. It just really resonated with me with Pepper, where she says, "You can rest now. We're protected," or whatever the line was like that. It was just really, really emotional. And again, that's why this movie is so good to me. Is the script is amazing, the dialogue is incredible,
the
but
acting is really good.
acting is great. But it really does a great job of balancing out between the humoristic moments, the dramatic moments, the timing on the comedy, timing on drama. They just really all pave off into one like incredible movie, and they really nailed all that. For me.
It really just has that final feeling to it, like the end of an era, if you want to say. Like, I don't know, it has a different feel than just a movie. It like, you can see it on its own and it'll still be great, but it's really relies. It's like watching a season finale without watching the season. You know what I mean? It really, and I think that's a good thing. Like, yeah, movies should stand on their own, but the fact that it like pays off all these other 20-something movies is just so incredible.
No, I agree, and that's obviously not a very easy thing to do. So I mean, to do it both ways. So I'm glad that they were able to execute that. That was great. And then again, just seeing the funeral for Tony, that was heartbreaking. We got to see John Favreau. I was wondering, where's Black Widow's funeral? No, yeah. But obviously that was really sad.
They're a little busy.
Yeah, exactly. But it would have been nice to have a rich thing for both of them. But that's just me griping.
Yeah. Real quick, back to the battle scene. Now that we're talking about the funeral, I was thinking about a scene, but we really actually get to see how powerful Wanda is in the battle scene, because she literally was about to kill him before he's like, rain fire. He was gonna die. She had him. He was done. Like, Cap, Iron Man, and Thor couldn't take him down. Wanda literally took him down by herself.
She's freaking powerful. I mean, she was created by the Mind Stone in terms of her powers, so no, that makes sense.
I wanted to definitely mention that because I was thinking about that. I'm like, damn, she is like probably the strongest one.
And again, another line that really resonated: "You took everything from me." Obviously,
know who you are.
I don't even know who you are. That was great. Obviously, what she meant, obviously, as all of you already know, she's talking about Vision because her brother was taken by Ultron, so she can't be talking about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really, like, it just shows like we already knew because we saw it on screen, but just hearing those words from Wanda, how much she loved and cared for Vision, and I wanted him to get him back. I know they're gonna have a streaming service show where it's Wanda and Vision, so I'm gonna be curious. Yeah, I was thinking that's probably what we're gonna see, so it's gonna be interesting when we see that. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see the Loki one, that one. I think there's gonna be Sam Wilson or Falcon and Winter Soldier, Bucky.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really cool to see, because obviously their relationship has, really matured
it'll be interesting.
I hate you.
It's going to be interesting to see just how the whole entire MCU universe goes from
I think the one I'm most excited for is as Guardians of the Galaxy. I really
hope a perfect fit.
I really hope Chris Hemsworth is in that third James Gunn Guardians of the Galaxy.
I mean,
it would be a mistake.
Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt together would just be gold. Like, even in that look that he gives is so good.
We all know who's in charge.
I think it's perfect. Like, I'm really looking forward to that, because they have to do it, because they set up Adam Warlock too, and who else is strong enough to fight him?
But Thor, with Stormbreaker, because obviously Mjolnir was taken back with Steve Rogers, so he didn't keep Mjolnir.
I thought that was another cool thing too. Like, I really thought Captain America was going to die in this movie, because you knew he was going to be, his story was ended in this movie, but I thought he was going to die. But the way they tied it all up with him going back and
living his life,
with Peggy, just
in the past.
I don't know. We got the very sad moment with Tony, and we got the extremely happy moment with Cap. That's the way the movie ended.
Still was sad too for me, just seeing him. I'm glad he got his life, but I want to still see him.
It was sad for us, but he.
Yeah, no, I was happy for him.
He got what he wanted.
Yeah, I felt what Sam felt. I was happy for him, but sad for myself because I want more adventures with him. But I'm glad, like he said, he got to live that life, because when I saw the first Captain America, the first Avenger film, and you see that line at the end with Nick Fury was like, "You okay?" I had a date. Like, you feel for Steve there. I just kind of feel bad for Sharon Carter. Like, who does she get to go? She's gorgeous. She'll find someone.
They're obviously going to have one very strange conversation. Oh, by the way,
I hooked up with her niece.
Yeah.
Well, she can't. I mean, technically, who knows if he still I don't know. I guess that could be a relative of Peggy's who had that kid, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, he gives the shield to Sam Wilson, and I think it's fitting. I mean, he obviously could have given it to Bucky, but I don't know. I mean, you could argue Sam and you could argue Bucky both ways, but I'm totally fine with him giving it to Sam.
I mean, they're both Captain America in the comics, both Bucky and Sam. So, no, I thought it was appropriate. You actually made me come around a little in terms of, I like the point you made where Bucky did have a history and a past where, not that obviously Steve accepted him because he knew he was under mind control, but the world is accepting him as Captain America just for the things he's done. He's still got to keep...
He's been a terrorist for years and years and years.
I mean, that was interesting.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a determining factor, but
he's already badass without the shield anyways, so that didn't bother me. I just can't wait to see Falcon's new armor with the Captain America colors. Just don't make it like Iron Patriot in Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
Make it sicker than that.
But yeah, I mean, I think they did a pretty good job of closing up all the storylines. Like, they had Hawkeye going back to his family.
That was great.
And just, obviously, we talked about Thor and Captain America, and we saw all the people at the funeral.
And Scott Lang is back with Hope, and he's back with his daughter, of course, and obviously Hank and Janet, we saw them in the funeral scene. You also saw General Ross in the funeral scene. We also saw that boy who most people didn't recognize. That was the kid from Iron Man 3. That was Harley.
I didn't recognize him at first.
I did because I kind of looked on IMDb months and months and months ago, and I saw it said Ty Simpson. It said Ty Simpson, Harley Kiner. So all movie I was looking for, and then when we got that, same like, where else can he be? And then when we got to him, I was like, okay, that's him. It's the kid from Jurassic World, also one of the two boys, the younger brother.
And I thought it was fitting too at the funeral where they put that proof that Tony has a heart.
The Mark I chess piece.
Yeah.
No, that was very touching, and of course it was two things. It was one, Pepper is the one who kept that for Tony, and obviously he had to use that in the first Iron Man. So it's a very symbolic moment, like you said, proof that Tony Stark has a heart, and he did have a heart. I mean, he sacrificed everything to save everyone.
And you also get that sweet little moment with Happy and Morgan.
All the cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
That's a reference also back to Iron Man 1. I want an American cheeseburger.
Yep.
Yeah, so no, it's great.
But yeah, I think, again, I keep saying it feels final, but they did a really good job of closing everything up and wrapping up this entire series of 22 movies?
22 movies, yeah.
Crazy,
I think next is Spider-Man Far From Home. And that was interesting, too. Let's really quick, we're just about done with this, but we just really, seeing Peter Parker, Ned, I'm assuming half the high school kids were or whatever number it was, were decimated, and then it's obviously you don't age when you're dead like that.
Yeah.
So he's the same age 5 years later. So all the kids who were dusted, I'm sure they're gonna make total mention of that in Spider-Man Far From Home.
In that moment, Ned was looking at him as like, dude, you've been gone for 5 years. We were both gone. So.
I don't know. That was hard for me.
And I was kind of looking the second time I saw it, like that building they were in, was that their high school? It kind of looked different. It could have been college. It could have been something. I don't know, but I guess we'll see.
It has to be high school because they haven't really aged. I mean,
right? I guess
Peter didn't obviously,
but I just got that feeling Ned was looking at him, was like, dude, you've been gone for 5 years.
Maybe it's like, they both haven't seen.
So,
who knows?
Who knows? I guess we'll see.
They'll obviously
we'll see in a couple months.
Yeah, they have to mention that in Spider-Man Far From Home. I'd be shocked if they didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was great seeing that again, and also we got to see Nick Fury for 10 seconds and Maria Hill back at the funeral, and obviously Captain Marvel was there too, just kind of setting up the next set of films and also paying their respects, of course, to Tony. But yeah, no, I think we kind of covered everything.
Just about.
And you probably already know there was no post-credit scene, which I'm glad they didn't do. There wasn't they had the three Clangs from Iron Man making a suit in the cave, which was cool. I love that. That was great.
It's a nice little.
Yeah. And really quickly before we finish this, I was thinking too when we saw Jon Favreau, I'm like, this is really the godfather of everything. Like without him, obviously without him, Robert Downey Jr. and Kevin Feige. But like he started this all with Iron Man 1.
He directed a great first movie. So
yeah, and he's gonna obviously be in Spider-Man Far From Home, so it's gonna be cool to see Happy in that as well, Happy Hogan. But yeah, just finishing off this spoiler talk, you guys already know what I felt, but again, I love this movie so much. It was intense, it was dramatic, it had a lot of humorous moments that really hit and had me laughing out loud. The camera work was phenomenal, especially that one Tokyo sequences, the epic battle, just seeing all the fight choreography, every way the characters use their powers, the way the characters work together as a team. Like, if you really think about it, any film you make is going to be very hard to make and make it good, but like this could have gone wrong so many different ways, and they just really, they delivered and they nailed it. And I love the Russo brothers and Kevin Feige and everyone at Marvel. Keep pumping out these movies if they're this good, obviously.
Yeah.
And I really hope the Russo brothers do stay, because I've been following them since Community and Arrested Development and Yumi and Dupree, which, by the way, they got the little reunion with Michael Douglas back.
True.
So that was cool. But ever since the first 5 minutes of the Lemurian star of Captain America Winter Soldier, I said, these guys are amazing. They fit Marvel.
Yeah,
and I hope they stay on. It'd be cool to see Secret Wars or whatever else they decide they'd like to do. I'd love to see them continue doing whatever else they want, but really, some Marvel, more Marvel.
Yeah, I think them and the writers, Marcus and McFeely, they just did a really good job of making these characters we've been following for however many years, 10, 11 years, just
Doesn't age.
feel human and have real emotions, and obviously also have great moments in battle and action, but making these heroes feel like people you can relate to and that you love. So,
and that's why, you know, in the sad moments we were like, oh.
And another thing I'll mention too, the music in this movie was just amazing.
Alan
This is probably
Silvestri.
one of the best scores of any Marvel movie that I've seen. It just flowed really perfectly.
Yeah.
It kind of had that weird like jazz ragtime almost feel a little bit too in a lot of parts. And yeah, I mean, I think it just everything fit perfectly. And there's not much more I can say about this. It's really, really well done. Really great movie.
And just last thing for me, just speaking of the music, I love how we get the guy who composed Back to the Future to do it. So appropriate. This Alan Silvestri. He also did Captain America: The First Avenger, and he also did The Avengers and Infinity War and Back to the Future, the first Predator movie, Forrest Gump, Castaway,
He's done
several
a lot of
others.
stuff.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He's amazing, and he delivered it once again on this score.
But I think that's going to wrap it up for this review, man. We spent a lot of time talking about this. I'm really glad it's finally has come and it's everything I wanted it to be. I'm sure people can nitpick about little things, but I loved it. So
Me too. But let us know what you guys thought in the comment section, because we'd love to hear. This obviously we did do a spoiler talk where we broke it down, so you can go into spoilers in the comments. We won't, stop you from doing that. We'd love to know what you guys thought. Any nitpicks you might have, moments you loved throughout the film. Let us know. We really want to know.
yep, thanks a lot for watching, and if you guys like these videos, you can hit the subscribe button.
See you guys next time.